Try -8. Try -8.
There is no -8. There's
sideways 8.
Are you on butt cheeks or
infinity.
sideways 8?
I was on butt. This is infinity.
Infinity.
Sideways 8. Sideways 8.
Sideways 8. That sounds better.
Sideways 8 sounds good.
This way, like this.
That's
and
better.
I'll just stay like this. Do I just need to be? Okay.
It's
But
weird
look how
'cause
close. Look how close Alex is talking.
Well,
to
but you
his,
can also change, I think, the gain.
Oh, what's
yeah,
your gain at?
Are you just
Well,
gainy?
I'm
You might
at
be six
half.
gain.
What about
Oh, your half.
No, now you can't.
Oh,
Better,
that's getting better.
better.
That's getting
Yeah,
better.
you were a
for-
gain
now
junkie.
this. Is this? Well, no. This is how it was, and then this better. Hello?
Lower the
You want
gain.
I'm the lowest. This is
You're at
How's
0
this?
gain and butt
Now go
cheeks?
butt cheeks and low gain.
now back to butt cheeks. Okay.
Yeah. Butt cheeks, for the record, is a setting on his
Okay.
mic.
This.
The little
How's this?
symbol looks like a butt cheek.
Do you like that?
It's better.
That's nice.
Okay.
I think we're ready.
If there's any listeners who happen to dabble in audio podcast production,
Help us
just
out.
reach out.
Honestly, I think we're doing pretty well. We're doing well. We're on episode 11. We're in double digits now. Like, we're not freshmen in high school anymore. Like,
Well,
no.
it took Alex and I 9 episodes to both get a proper microphone.
It's true. He's making fun
And
of me
then-
because I still have one headphone. This doesn't work. This one.
I mean, you guys sound and look great.
Thanks,
so that's
man.
all that matters.
We're the three little engines that could.
Yeah. And listeners, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the Still Single podcast, hosted by Rob Moore, Alex Weber, and Jordan Kahana. We're 3 besties, all in our mid-30s, who are definitely still fucking single. And I wanted to introduce a new segment of the show where each week we're going to go around the horn and we're going to do a status update of where we're at. So, Jordan, why don't you kick us off where you're at?
Well, yeah, I love that this is your new segment, and that I'm the one that's like, let's throw it to Jordan, and then so I can figure this out. I'm still shooting my shot and just letting opportunities come. I'm also trying to be more intentional with that search, but at the same time, just kind of feeling as though yeah, you just never know that, there's a lot of inbound messages that I'm getting still. If you are going to slide into my DMs, please have a public profile.
You go.
What? Listen, this is what happens when you throw it to me first, and I didn't even know we were going to do this. So I'm just
You're
like,
doing great. You're doing
It's
amazing.
so great. It was just funny because you're like, I'm getting 30 to 40 messages a day. Please consult the best practices that is on my website. If you're gonna
it's not
slide
that
in my
many, but
DMs.
if you're gonna slide into someone's DMs, I can't emphasize enough to have a public profile. And yeah, just kind of going with it and seeing what kind of connections I can make, and it's just having some fun right now. But trying to be intentional.
You're still single?
Still very, very fucking single. Yeah, I have a podcast called Still Single. That's how single I am.
Do you find it tough to date and have a podcast called Still Single?
I keep bringing that up. I do think that it's throwing a little bit of a curveball. And I was
on a date. I was on a date recently, and she was like, "Are you gonna talk about me on your podcast? You better not." And I was like, "No, of course not. Definitely not."
That's interesting, because I had a girl reach out to me being like, "Hey, can we hang out so that you do talk about me on the podcast?" She's like, "I'm a big fan." We ended up not hanging out because she's incredibly flaky and probably listening to this. But I think a big thing for me is I'm trying to be more of like dating locally, and still I find myself connecting with people who don't live in the same city and or country at this point. But
nice.
Here we are, and I'm just trying to keep this podcast alive, so that's why I'm just sticking to those guns.
Yes.
Okay, so Jordan's still single. I'll go next. I am still single. I'm taking a no date September, so a little bit of a fast from dating apps and dating in general. We're on day 6, just hanging in there. Labor Day weekend was extremely lonely. I'm not gonna lie, but it feels good, kind of like sharing this no date September saga with some of my followers and some of the listeners out there. So again, if you're doing No Date September, a lot of power to you, and a lot of love.
What's been a takeaway so far from the 6 days of 1/5 of the way?
You're muted. We lost you.
Here we go. I would say, what has been the takeaway from the last 5 days? Don't miss the dating apps. That's for sure. Like deleting those, that's like a definite, like I don't miss that kind of addictive swiping. So that's really good. I've gotten really into watching The Terminal List on Amazon Prime with Chris Pratt. Like watching shows is just a big thing you do. Been taking a lot of walks. I've been exercising a lot. You know, I'm just like
a lot of videos I'm seeing of yours is that there's a lot of ice cream. I think
yes, I am eating a lot of ice cream. There's no question.
You're working out a lot.
I'm working out, so it kind of it balances. But if I stop working out and I keep the ice cream intake the way it's at, I'm fucked.
Well, imagine what would happen if you eat better and we remove the ice cream, but you're still working out.
I also had Domino's last night, so
okay.
Should I just chill on my diet?
How was it good?
You can,
it was awesome, man.
What'd you order? What was the order?
I got a large pizza with black olives, green peppers, and onions.
What kind of ice cream?
Okay.
I didn't eat any ice cream. I couldn't do the pizza and then ice cream. That's craziness.
Did you finish the whole large pizza?
You know, I didn't not finish the whole large pizza.
Can we talk about, we probably mentioned this before, and you bring up the dating apps. I was listening, I think it was to Matthew Hussey, and just talking to people when I was out and about, of just how with the dating apps, we don't necessarily register what are you?
Oh, I just wanted to round out the, status updates with a little Alex. We just passed right over him.
We're going to come back to it. I'm definitely I'm going to make sure, Alex, no one deflects questions, but we're going to circle back. But you bringing up the dating apps about how, and you bringing up how we're not meeting in the wild in terms of just like getting someone's scent or feeling someone's energy, or just like we're being too critical on someone. The dating apps have made us too critical that it's like, no, I must find someone who is taller than 6 feet, or that is like has this kind of job, or we get the ick so easily because they answered a question in one certain way. But if you're at a party and you meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, Alex, you meet someone and they're like, oh, my favorite movie is The Notebook, and you're like, oh, I haven't seen it, they're not going to be like, oh, that's a no for me.
I know a guy.
You can
Hi, I'm Rob.
You banter and you play into it.
I haven't been to a party in
well, that's why we're going to have the Still Single Boys Weekend very soon.
Dude, I haven't been to a party in months.
You haven't been to a party in months?
But I think that's also part of, I'm living in Boulder, and I'll do the update. I'm living
in
Boulder.
That house party?
Yeah, that was in like beginning of June.
Yeah, we're in September.
That's
Newsflash.
And I put it on.
I know.
The only party I've been to is the one I put on.
Wait, really quick about house parties.
That.
I didn't get invited to my friend Natalie's birthday party until the day of, because my friend Tom and I were on the phone, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to Natalie's birthday party. And I'm like, Natalie didn't invite me to her birthday party? So I texted her just like, happy birthday. And then she's like, oh my God, here's the details. And it's like, she eventually invited me, but I felt out of the loop. I was totally not invited. Like it totally was not.
I bet it wasn't conscious though. Like I bet she wasn't like, Rob, nah. It was.
But the fact that I'm just not even on the radar for like house parties, it hurts. It honestly hurts. And I'm in LA. I've got this single dad status. I'm in this weird in between area where I'm like a single parent trying to make friends with like Leia's friends at school, but I'm also like trying to like go out and be social and meet with people that are also single. And it's a really weird kind of middle ground to be in.
Are those parents about your age, or are they a little older?
No, most are older. I'd say the majority are in their late 30s, early 40s.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, it's good to see you.
Hold on. We're not skipping Alex.
Well, first I'm going to get the door.
Just give us a little update. It doesn't need to be official. It's just like,
guys, I'm excited to update.
Okay.
I'm off the dating apps.
Woo.
I noticed that when I was first off of them, I would do my like addiction tour. Like I would go email, text, Instagram, maybe TikTok, and then I'd go for the app. And I'm like, what do I do with this ample 7 seconds? But it's been a long time since I was even really engaging on them. So that feels good to just like, feels a little more peace. Like I've realized this, I want like closed loops or cleanliness in my life. Just like, I feel like I have like a lot like messy, not messy, but just too much going on in work. I'm moving to Austin in October and I just want like
newsflash.
Yeah, it's decided.
Exciting.
It's decided. Jordan, by the way, I owe you a call. I have something to tell you. Well, I mean, like also like as we're talking about this, I'm like, I haven't been to a party since early June that I put on is the only party I've been to.
Right, but also to counter, you also live deep in the woods and like away from society. So you would go visit Austin. You're like, I haven't done this much socializing in forever, and then he moves back, and it's like, cool. You live 75 minutes away because it's a 35-minute like route.
I know. You're right. Denver is an option.
I've wanted to try. Enjoy it. I'm not mad at you about that. I'm very excited for that.
Funny anecdote. So I'm still single.
Single.
But I'm noticing like I like the piece of like no dating apps and like if but I cross paths. I guess I share this because it's kind of funny. I crossed paths with someone in the grocery store. We were like in this health grocery store, and she was like a sweet, cute, girl, and she like. I was like, we had a conversation. I was like, hey, do you have sprouted hummus? Sprouted hummus, by the way, guys, is much more healthy. I learned that hummus aren't that great, but I know this is killing your spirit, Rob.
Did you say hummus? What do you think hummus is made of? Hummus?
No, Thank you.
No. Sprouted hummus, sprouted chickpeas, like sprouted hummus.
Okay, chickpeas. That was the
but
key word.
But the sprouted is the better. So then we got to talking, as you do when you talk about sprouted hummus. Yeah. And I checked out, and I was in her lane when I checked out, and there was like she was really sweet, but I was like, I'm just gonna leave this there because I don't want any like. I'm feeling the craving of kind of what Rob described of like. A little more internal, a little more like, I just want peace. I just want peace and like to be on my stuff and not messy and what.
I feel that for you, man. I think that's like the season of life that you're entering and into, and you've been talking about like wanting it for a bit. So now seems like the time to do that, which is great.
Yeah. They didn't have sprouted hummus, by the way.
So listeners, last week, Jordan asked us to read The Truth. And that was a follow-up to The Game, both written by Neil Strauss. And I have to say that I think, I texted you guys this, but I wanted to talk about like kind of dependency, codependency, and like our need for female love, affection, approval, and like how that manifests in our day-to-day. Because I've definitely noticed just in these 5 days of not going on a date that I'm just like fiending for like female energy saying how amazing I am or how great I am or yada yada. And it's something that I guess is rooted back in like my childhood with like my relationship with my mom, which is a lovely relationship. But it's like I'm at this place in life where it's like I just want to be able to look in the mirror and be like, you're fucking awesome, and that's it. Like I don't need another person to be like, you're actually a cool dude or you're a good dad. Like just be like I'm it. I am that voice.
Well, are you? Because it's interesting, man. Because like that's awesome. It's also a time where like, are you seeing yourself seek it on TikTok or Instagram or other 100%. Ways?
I'm seeking it. I'm definitely seeking it on Instagram. I'm seeking it on TikTok. And then I have to like almost take like a breath and just be like, dude, like it doesn't really matter like if a TikTok video does well or not. It doesn't, in the grand scheme of things. So but I'm also curious after reading The Truth, where this guy like Neil, he literally goes into like an insane asylum for sex and love addiction. And I have an addictive personality, and I'm just like, am I addicted to sex? Like, am I addicted to that feeling? And I guess I just want to open it up to the Still Single pod, because it's like, are we like, do you find yourself addicted to that feeling of companionship or intimacy?
Well, I love this question, and I'll feel this as someone who, I mean, the first thing I love about the book is that there's 170 chapters. And I think if you're going to set out to write a book, I was feeling good this morning. I was like, okay, like chapter 6, chugging along. And then I scrolled. I was like, are you kidding me? But more importantly, well, you said two different things. One was sex and then one was intimacy. And I think like those can be different.
Yeah.
So I definitely have, I mean, I know we keep kind of like circling this or repeating it or coming back, whatever, but it's important. I think I just have a craving for just someone to really see me and like get all of me and like be down with it. And not, I've been with people who I think have been down with like 8/10, and that's like amazing. And I'm grateful for it. I want you to know my ugly. I want you to know my crazy. And that's just, that to me is intimacy, is like fully being not only accepted, but loved for all of you.
100%. I mean, that we all want to be loved fully and accepted fully. I guess it's more like, we're talking sprouted hummus. What, when you like, it's impossible not to be attracted to somebody who's attractive in the wild. You can't turn that off.
Right. And I guess, so the guy that I'm going to reference most in this episode, that's what I went and grabbed my phone because I had a lot of notes. I was listening to a lot of his podcasts, is that Matthew Hussey talked about recently, that you don't fall in love with someone's feature, you fall in love with the whole package. And that seems like what Alex is talking about right now, is that don't, yes, I do this one thing, or, I can be funny here, but I want you to fully embrace my weirdness, my quirkiness, my love for, your niece and nephew, like all these different things, like who you are as a person, you being passionate, and we admire your speaking engagements, all of that to, and I do think that that's where sometimes we get lost on, of just being like, man, that girl's body is amazing. Like, I'm so attracted to that. But that's where insecurities come from, because there's always going to be someone who has a better body, or has a nicer smile, or has prettier eyes, or different things. But when you are in love with someone, or when you have a connection with someone where you're connected to the whole package, that those insecurities then get removed, and you can feel more confident in that connection.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the one thing I was looking up with Neil was you said when sex is your highest priority. So Rob, you said the sex addict thing. I mean, I don't think you are, but granted, you've never made a move on me. Most of you don't. Is sex your highest priority? If it is, then you might be.
No, sex is definitely not my highest priority, but I have noticed that when I do have sex with somebody new, there's almost this like, okay, that's done. Like, we did that. And I mean, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, where you're just like,
but that goes even back to the game, where he was talking about how he just wanted to get it over with, so that he wasn't like wanting something from the girl, and that the girl wasn't like holding something back from him, that they could just be comfortable, like get over that hump, and then be able to be really comfortable with each other from there. So I do understand that, and it even goes back to my discussion around like, can guys and girls be friends? Just something about like that, the tension that gets loosened with, or just like the comfortability that you break that hurdle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, this might sound callous, but would you agree that in our dating app culture of, swipe left, swipe right, your brain only has a certain amount of time to really decide if you're going to pursue? And if you're in a certain mindset where it's like, I would have sex with this person or I would not, do you think the brain is getting like an overload of information that is super just like, I'd have sex with her, I wouldn't. I'd have sex with her, I wouldn't.
You're saying because, I mean, it is, however you dice it up, it's human shopping. Like you're shopping for humans, like however you dice it up, either way, guys and women,
Yeah.
I mean, in the wild, as we say, I think you're still doing it, right? Like you're both men and women, your radars are going off of like, okay, there's something here, there's not. I think it's just the amount that happens on a dating app where you could quite literally like, I don't know, like 60 people in like 20 minutes, like quite literally. I think that is where it gets a little nutty.
I agree. So the three of us are off dating apps, which is this is a great thing. I'd say it took us 11 episodes for all three of us to be off dating apps. And again, we're not shaming people that are on dating apps. We are actually pro dating apps for the right individual. I just say for the three of us, for these three still single dudes, we were just like, this isn't serving us, so we've gotten off. And Jordan, would you say that in your non-dating app career, you're still finding new connections?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he's on the dating app TikTok.
That is like, listen, social media as a whole is equal parts of how you can present yourself. And I think being on social media, especially TikTok, it shows off way more of your personality and way more of who you are. So I have no hesitation on saying, and I've said this in my personal life, so why not say it here on the podcast, that I do think that TikTok is the best dating app out there.
How do you get so many matches on TikTok though? Like how is that happening?
No, that's not how it works though.
Not matches, but like you have to follow the person and they have to follow you in order for you guys to.
Do you watch Jordan's videos though? Jordan, they're great.
He's always shirtless. He looks great.
I can't even tell you the last time
you're on a date with me, and it's like him in a sunset, and their dog's there.
No,
it's great.
I made an ADHD joke about being on a date with me, and I don't thirst trap, and I don't. I shouldn't say I don't. I shouldn't paint with that broad of a brush. There's definitely angles of thirst trapping that I've done in the past, more so than others. And at the same time, like
sometimes get thirsty, just sometimes, and sometimes.
Well, that goes back to you wanting to post in the validation and the craving and the addiction that I have when it comes to that. Having been on social media and having it being my job, my full-time job for 5.5 years, there is I do, like, I was talking about this in therapy and about how I do have this like anxiety around what people think of me, but not in a general social setting. I don't care, but like, it's important how many views my videos get or how many, like what the engagement rate is. And so that's, I don't love that, but at the same time, that's the game that I'm in right now. And so I'm just riding that out. And I do think that I crave validation so much. And someone telling me, I FaceTime my buddies, they were, Labor Day weekend and they were all in Chicago, and FaceTime my one buddy. And I had the ring light on because it was really dark in my place. So it's looking like, I was aware that I was looking pretty good too. And they turned it to like their friends. And this one girl's like, "Who is that? He is so hot." And I'm just like, yes, let's get, I needed that. I'm alone, like in my apartment on Labor, like, yes, give me that. But also it's just like, why, going back to your point, Rob, is like, why can't I look in the mirror and just be like, bro, you're the man. You like, go enjoy, go play volleyball, go play basketball, go on your bike, like go, create something fun and do that. But there is something like, it is a dopamine hit now at this point, especially with social media, like getting all those likes and, the validation of dating apps of, oh, you matched and dang, that girl is so cute. Oh, and she responded to my comment. Oh yeah. Like it's dopamine hit after dopamine hit. And so like you guys said about like, there's nothing wrong with dating apps. I've met some incredible people who I'm still close with today from that. And I have had great experiences from it, but you just got to remove yourself every now and then to check yourself.
One thing you guys brought up too, which is like interesting. You mentioned with Neil Strauss, the book, of him being like, okay, let's have sex to get that out of the way. Right. I think there's something with, obviously in Christianity and other faiths, there's something of like not having sex to manage. And I think that is marriage. And I think that's also something of like, so I think you could go both ways if you're viewing it as like, oh, sex can confuse things.
Yeah.
You could kind of go the route of like, let's just do it and get it out of the way. Or you could go the route of like, and I feel like you guys, one of you has done this before too, of like, you know what, for X amount of time, that's off the table and let's just get to know each other as people.
I mean, this is a little bit more of an intimate, segue, but
Yes.
when Noelle and I were leading up to our wedding, we decided to not have sex for a period of like 3 months. And, we were still intimate. We would still be intimate, we just didn't have sex. And truly, I mean, the wedding night was awesome. Like, it was amazing because I was like, oh my God, it felt like losing my virginity again. And I don't know. I mean, I think that I have said in earlier episodes about just like swipe fatigue, and we have so many options, and then you're always like, what's better out there? What's good? And I will have to say, after these last 5 days, by the way, there's like a man just like spraying for bugs in the back of
I'm in Joshua Tree right now, staying at a cabin, shooting, and this guy was supposed to come like an hour and a half ago, and he just showed up, and I'm a little concerned because like I don't know if I should be in this room because he literally, it is for bugs because there's some ants in the city.
He just like sprayed the whole room, and Jordan's just sitting there like, dude, what are you?
What if the guy was like, I've been listening, and Jordan, you're the man. Like, you're enough.
He's like, is that Rob and Alex? Let me say hi.
Dude, I've been watching some like horror movies and stuff, and so for a minute I was like, is that real? Like,
is that murder happening?
What movies have you been watching? I don't do scary movies like that often.
I watched, and then totally, Rob, we're going to come back to love transcending heaven and earth as you're describing. So the movies, though, no, let's no.
I think we're going through this like thing in human history where we have swipe fatigue. There's so many options, and I will just say, like, after these 5 days of just not going on a date, not having dating apps to swipe, there's been more room for me to, I don't know, focus on myself and be really sad.
No, I'm excited for you. I'm glad. I know you're fully committed to it.
Totally. Just
I'm excited for like the update on day, what would it be, like 12 and then 19. It's like the guy who signs up for a marathon and he runs like around the block the first day. He's like, it's just like the runner's high and the endorphins. And it's just like, I just feel like a new man.
Look, there's 25 more days. So who's counting?
You're going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Okay. So just going back to the theme of this episode, which is, I'd say, validation, and getting validation from the opposite sex, or getting validation from a TikTok following or an Instagram video that we post. Like, we're all content creators, and I know that feeling. We quantify our lives by how well it performs on social media sometimes. Like, it's just,
I'm really repelling against it though. Like, I'll tell you my own personal journey. I think I've come to a point where I'm just like, I've had peaks and valleys in it for a lot of years. And there's been seasons of it where I've really felt like my truest self and had videos that get millions. And it's like, we'd be lying if we said we opened it up and that didn't feel good, right? When you just open it up and like the metrics are at their max, like 100 likes, 100 comments, and you're like, oh baby. And then it like doesn't happen. But also these systems are also out of our control. Like, TikTok is a weird thing. So is Instagram. Like, we're not driving that bus. We're just participants on something bigger than ourselves, right?
We're just yelling in the back, being like, look.
Well, but they can change things at their leisure, whatever they want for any reason. They could also go away. That's part of the truth of it, right?
Yeah.
I think like I'm balancing this too. If I've just met a lot of people, and this is like, I think we all have our own journey. Like, Jordan, you've made a niche where like it's your career. And I think I've come to the place also of realizing like, I need to be better because social media is an amplifier, but I'm just like looking at a lot of the people that I really want to be like. And it's like, it's not on Instagram, in internet land. It's not. And so I think I'm putting more of an emphasis and focus in my own life on the world outside of the internet, because that's just where I'm actually seeing more goodness happen in my life.
More like tangible people coming up to you,
just like doing work and impacting people and having moments and having a career and like having good times with people and not so like screeny and like fake emotions.
Jordan, you're thinking, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I'm happy, like, you know, and at the same time, I think, yeah, social media is both a double-edged sword of awesomeness and also literally giving everyone mental illness.
Totally.
So that's awesome that you're finding more space and excitement and intrigue on that. I guess, like, at the same time, I hope you're not like, it felt, I guess I felt like you were like yucking my yum.
No, not at all. More for my own self of, and I get that. And also like, I also know that for who I want to be, I need to embrace social media because it's too powerful. Like it's too powerful. But I think I went through a period of putting too much emphasis, life worthiness. Like I would literally be like, today was a good day. I posted something and it did well. And I'm only speaking for my own journey. And I'm like, I'm trying to recalibrate my mind of what I deem valuable. Because for too much of my life, I've
for sure. And you're not wrong as all three of us, like being, you know, somewhat of content creators and doing that. And for me to have this video go viral, like I didn't get much work done because of the high that I got every time I opened up either TikTok or Instagram, and it was nearly maxed out every time. And like, it's amazing. And at this point that we're almost like a month past of it, where I'm still getting comments and things like that, where I open it and it still pops up a little bit. And so I go and it's still comments for that one video where I'm like, cool, I've made like 25 other posts and, you know, like, let's great engage on my other stuff. Like I do, like I create other things. Like, can we grow together on this, you know? And so I think it goes back, Alex, to you want, like, it's me wanting people to love and appreciate my channel as well as me as a full package, not this one video that I did or two you know, like I guess it's a little nice that it isn't the puppy stuff. And I've made some videos that deal with the dogs that people like aren't really engaging on because I've been wanting to transition for that. But that's a whole nother discussion. I think really what we're focusing on here, or at least the point that I'm trying to make, is like being the full package for your partner and you searching for someone who is the full package, not just a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm personally like evolving my package. My package is growing, literally. I think, no, honestly, I think like the version of myself that I am this month versus last month is just different. And the version I was 2 months ago is different. And I'm kind of just in a place of like, keep following, you know, this path. That said, though, I'm seeking validation and I'm seeking love. And I'm, you know, Alex, you said something that Theo Vaughn said of like, you know, being with somebody is like when somebody has you. And that feeling, you know, I have my family, I have my friends, and I have my daughter, obviously, but I really don't have that partner that's like checking in, you know, and like being like, how are you doing? And I think this season of my life is actually finding, with the help of TikTok and Instagram and these dopamine hits and these validation hits, this inner voice that I can just say, you know what, I got this. Or like, you're good, man. You got this right now. And maybe you don't have somebody to pick you up right now, but you will eventually. So I'm trying not to rely too heavily on the TikTok, Instagram world, but I'm also, you know, I'm pretty conscious of it. It's real. I mean, when people validate what you post and share, it's real. It feels good.
Yeah. So what do you do as outlets for that? Like, cause I go to therapy, I write in my journal, like what are some things that you guys do? Or I'll like call one of you guys or, you know, call my brother and chat with my niece and just do stuff to like really get out of my head as much as possible. What are some avenues that you guys do?
I mean, I've definitely found, you know, in the last like month or so, just like exercise has been a real way to get me out of my head and into my body. And it's also like, it's a weird ego boost when you lift heavy shit. You're just like, oh, I can pick up heavy things and lift them over my head. And it's like, whoa, you know, like, how can you deny yourself that you're strong when you're literally, you know, expressing strength, you know? So that's been really helpful. And then I also have a little, I try and put on my phone, like on do not disturb when I'm with Leia, so that it's just like, it's pure Leia time. Like nothing can like take me out, you know, no Instagram message can take me out of the 30 minutes. Like it's so minute. It's 30 minutes of focus that I'm giving to my daughter that is just pure focus. And I think carving out those times, and it's really like, it's so, you guys are obviously not parents, but for our listeners that are parents, like you have this precious time every day. That's like 30 minutes in the morning and, you know, an hour at night. Like that's it. And the rest, it's like you're taking them to school, you're picking them up, you're getting them to the thing, you're getting them down, you're feeding them. And then it's like, okay, I did it. I did another day. You don't like, you really don't have that much quality time with your kids. And it just kind of flies if you have your phone just zapping your attention all the time. And we're addicted to our phones because it's giving us this validation. It's giving us these dopamine hits of like, oh, I'm important. Like my friends are texting me. I got so many emails today. My TikTok's blowing up. It's like, of course we're addicted to it.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And it's also geared towards, they're super smart people who made this thing. It's not a mom and pop shop entertainment. Like they have people, we're like rats in an experiment. Like we're yeah. So it's, I mean, that's like the best thing I think we can do is just to have boundaries around it.
But you know what's interesting, and Alex, I mentioned, you know, because Rob, your film won an award, and Alex, when you potentially, you know, when you land a big speaking deal or do something along those lines, or, you know, I land a big brand deal or do something that I was pushing towards a project, like my first reaction isn't to post it on social media.
No, never.
So that's what's most interesting.
Jinx.
I wrote that down for something earlier, but I was just like, I'm just gonna have this handy.
Just
wait, your instinct is not to post your wins immediately?
Yours was different, Rob, though, because yours happened.
Yeah, I'm not. You have like you had like marketing materials for that. I'm not shitting you on that, because also I do think that you ended up, like you said, you like went on a walk and you were going and doing and just like being outside, because you like, when something amazing like that happens where you get a really big win, I'm like, I get, you know, it's like, I need to go run onto a top of a mountain. I need to go like be outside and do that. So it's an interesting thing. And I was curious to hear what you guys do, because, you know, we talk about seeking so much validation, but when we actually get that win, that our first notion isn't always to, you know,
dude, I don't know how to celebrate. It's like a very real thing where, like, if I now do finish up a work thing, like the low hanging celebration for most of my life was like, go meet up with friends and get drinks. Right. Like, and then it became like drinking, and almost like drinking got wrapped up in celebration as like almost synonymous, to be honest. And now that that's out of my life, I'm like, dude, it's a very real thing. And I've talked to like Rob about it too. Like, I don't know if you guys go through it. I don't know,
you don't know how to let your hair down without letting your hair down.
But like, I got to find something. Like, I don't know, like Ninja Warrior it's super fun, but it's also like achievement based.
You've told me like doing stand up can kind of,
that's the best one. And that's part of the awesome thing too, is getting back into it. Cause like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how to like have, I need fun.
No, I can totally resonate as somebody who doesn't drink as well. Like, it is, you usually celebrate. I mean, our whole lives, our adult lives, it's like, oh, you celebrate, pop champagne, go get drinks with friends, have a beer to celebrate the big win, the big game. It's like, it's so part of our culture. And it's hard, man. I will say though, this is an insecurity of mine. And instead of hiding behind it, I'm going to just share it for all you guys to listen at home. So my film Ghosted, it just won Best Picture at the Los Angeles Film Awards. It won Best Narrative Short, and they gave me Best Actor, which I thought was so like out of the blue, surprising. I'm extremely humbled, and I'm sharing it because I'm now sensing old Rob insecurity around wearing the hat of actor, even though that is truly like, I'm an actor. Like, that's what I am. So since Friday's announcement of winning Best Actor, I've like added actor to my website. I've added it to my social media without anybody noticing, but like I did it, and I'm freaking out internally that I'm going to like lose producing jobs. I'm going to lose gigs. People are going to judge me. People are going to be like, "Oh, you're an actor too?" Like everyone fucking else. And I'm just like, but I don't know. And I just want to share that insecurity because it's real. I'm like living it right now.
Dude, so many thoughts on this. Cause also I've gone through a similar thing where it's like, yeah. And I'm sure Jordan, like I went through season 2 over the last year where I shared things that were true to me. And in it, I'm like, I might lose work or I might rub people the wrong way. I mean, dude, identity is one of the most powerful things. So for you to have a shot at being an actor, you need to believe you're an actor, or else it's just, there's no chance of it happening. And you are. My last kind of note on this is, if you had to literally paint the picture of the person who's doing that voice, meaning, oh, you're an actor, you're another actor, like who is that person?
It's Becky, that dumb bitch.
That dumb bitch, Becky. Oh my God. Somebody heard this voice on one of my TikTok lives and they were like, "Are you a hillbilly drag queen?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what it sounds like."
Because that's a different voice than Becky. That's not Becky.
Oh yeah, that is different. Becky's more like, so
just refocusing back to
sorry. So many voices.
This is literally you being an actor right now.
Literally.
Like, you being able to encompass different characters. Like
Becky, Rob is an actor. Okay. Anyways, so actor Rob.
Yes.
In terms of insecurity, it is just the voice, going back to Alex, what you said of like, who is that person that's judging you? It feels like it's like a young Hollywood-esque type executive.
Okay.
That like they like wear a suit to work, and like they make, a decent amount of money. It's like that, and they're like, "You're another fucking actor like everybody else." Then there's a version of my dad being like, "Robbie, you don't understand what the meaning of a sandwich is. You have no idea."
Yeah.
The Israeli dad. Then there's like maybe more like Hollywood people, like agents, like, "Dude, are you kidding me? You're gonna be an actor? Like, why, dude? Why?" That's like what the reaction is.
What do you think Favreau do you think Favreau refers to himself? Do you think that's part of his slashes?
I think Jon Favreau is an incredible director. But he started as an actor. Like he would definitely consider himself an actor. There's no question.
Right, but also he was like the writer and director for Swingers, where he got his start, and just like you, he wrote something for him and put himself in, which then allowed him to get other acting gigs, and then then he shifted back to being more of a director.
I think I truly do think it's fluid. I think it can morph, in different seasons of your life.
I mean, dude, totally. I relate to it so much, man, because comedian, stand-up comic was like, I wanted that title so bad. And same thing with American Ninja Warrior. I wanted those titles so badly, but I like almost felt like an imposter. People would judge it. And it took like a long, what's that look, Jordan? You're giving me a look.
No, I'm being supportive with you. It's interesting how much we want this certain title, but then also when we achieve that, we're like, oh, I'm not valid.
As you were literally saying that, sorry to cut you off. I'm literally thinking in my head, I'm like, you are an American Ninja Warrior. Like,
I appreciate it.
Did it like you?
And you are a stand-up comedian. You are like, you've done all these things.
Thank you. I genuinely believe it now, but I'm telling you, there was a lot of years where. I guess what I'm saying is like, when do you believe it? Cause like, dude, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was like when I competed, okay, but I competed, but I didn't do as well as I could, or like stand-up comedy. Okay. I'm doing shows, but like, am I doing enough shows? Like, when is it? And when is it,
Totally. And every time I see you, I refer to you as a professional athlete because you
it means so much.
And so you're, just
he's taking off his shirt. Yeah. His shirt's off. No, I mean,
see that.
And honestly, just to keep throwing props around, like Jordan, I've seen you as an executive type social media runner at like NFL. And like, I remember when we first reconnected after college, you kind of approached me about Electronic Spotlight. Yo, man, I can do this, this, and this. And now I look at you like you're a pure content creator. Like you are I see you as that. And I've seen you grow into that role and do it so well and grow a following that is highly engaged. And it's like, I'm sure you have your days where you're like, oh man, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing today?
Yeah, I mean, it goes a little bit. I definitely would never refer to myself as an influencer, but the one thing that I will say that so I've been doing it, like I said, for 5.5 years, but up until about a year and a half ago, I would not refer to myself as a photographer. That I didn't know what I was really doing with a camera, despite like my job being taking photos. And
Right.
but because I wasn't like, I never took like, film class or went to school for any of this, and I was just literally winging it. And I just had an artistic eye that, a lot of what I would say is like, oh, let's shoot it and I'll fix it in Photoshop, or I'll edit it and make it the way that I want it to, or and not until about a year and a half ago where I started like shooting more manually and getting it done the right way and doing that and feeling good about my editing and all, like, but also just in any kind of skill, it takes years to feel that confidence where you can like call yourself that title that you want. But it's interesting that we're putting this high prize on these titles, and yet still when we achieve it, like, Rob, you won an award for this skill. Like, it's not like you paid for this to get this award, like there's definitely a lot of awards that you can pay to get.
Right.
That's not what happened here. This is an independent like film festival that you won best actor for. And the thing is that you changed all your profiles and no one noticed but you. Right. I didn't I'm not checking in on your profiles being like, oh, Alex, did you see Rob changed it and it says he's an actor now? Like, no one's doing that. And it's all in our head for everything, for all of this stuff.
Going it's a good hype talk.
The hype. It's like hype. It's internal hype plus doing it equals then you're it.
You know what's yes, you nailed it. I fully agree. You know what's an interesting barometer is, I've noticed this is a good measuring stick, is if people ask you, what do you do? Your answer is very telling. So like, especially if you go like, I'm a producer, or if you go, I'm a producer and I write and also some acting. Okay. You like buried it as the third. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like super telling what you say.
Part of me, like, for the next year just wants to be like, I'm an actor and see what happens. Just dig on the table.
But I do think there is something interesting, is that the more that you have to say, the less I believe you.
Right.
So when you're very succinct of like, hey, Alex, what do you say? You're like, I'm a professional speaker. Like I
say I do speaking or public speaking. I always get, it's tough to like, and then I always get like, what does that mean? But yes, I'll say public speaking.
But if they're then intrigued on that, then that's the win, as opposed to you being like me asking you what you do and then you're talking for 3.5 minutes and I'm like, what is going on here?
I just pictured myself.
Rob pulls up the trailer.
I just pictured myself for a year being like, I'm a porn star, and just seeing what the reactions would be.
Sure. I mean, my friends make the joke every time they're out with me, as I'm like, if I like approach someone or we start talking and they're like, have you seen the puppy rescue video? Have you seen? But at the same time, the video is so viral that a majority of the people are like, I have seen that actually. And it like diffuses the situation. But the one thing that came into my mind that I wanted to bring up to kind of like close loop this, or at least just continue it, is that there's an interview going around of Porter Robinson, the DJ. And he talked about how he heard some quote or something along those lines that says, don't kill the person inside you that, don't kill the cringe in you, kill the person that like cringes at what you do. I'm butchering this a little bit. So it's like, be comfortable in doing that. Like I hold back and I don't post a lot of things because I'm like, is this good? Like, it's a little cringy. Alex makes fun of me because sometimes I do like a thirst trap or things like that.
Make fun of you. I think it's, Can I? Does this
you
actually?
You guys have like a little feud going on in this episode today.
No, but I want what's going on. I want to address.
I think it was more. I think it was more last episode than this episode, but it might be like this is also we're recording on a Tuesday. No, that was last week. Alex didn't like that, but we're also recording on a Tuesday versus like a Thursday. So this is early in the week for us.
Go ahead, Weber.
There is last week we did have a little feud. This week we don't. But I do want to.
Spicy bitches over here. So spicy.
Just a couple alpha males going,
address this.
Heads.
All right, I want to take ownership. You have the floor. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. No. I did yuck your yum. I did. And I think I want to own this because I think am a little bummed. And this is like sucky to admit, but I'm a little bummed because I found moments of really expressing myself on social media and finishing the loop where I was like, okay, this is true to me. I'm doing it and it's received well. Like, okay, like let's just run like this for a while. And now I'm like, I think going through a period of like, how do I express myself? And in that gap, I think has caused me to push it away. So I do stand by what I said. I do want to engage in things that are real to me and moving forward, but social media is very real. It would be, this is 2022. Like it is a very real part of society. And so I think my poo-pooing of you was my own, a little bit disappointment or longing to be connected with a community that I'm sharing myself with. So I apologize for the yucking the yum.
That was so sweet, guys.
I appreciate
Blow each other a
it.
kiss.
Thank you.
Blow each other a kiss right now.
I love you.
I love
Jordan,
you too.
blow him a kiss.
I mean,
He did. He did.
How many times?
I didn't see it. I got to see it. There you go.
ASMR.
Thanks.
my ASMR.
All right. So I just want to read this first, this note. It's from Brenda on Instagram. Hey guys, I'm from Mexico City. Let's go international. Hearing your podcasts because I follow Jordan because of his dogs and because he is handsome, of course.
Let's go.
Just sending this message because I find your
huge.
podcast really great to hear for women in their 30s too. I must say that it's really funny and cool to hear your deep and not so deep thoughts of 3 men that are actually expecting to meet the one. Heart emoji. How sweet is that?
That's
Thanks,
a great
Brenda.
note. Thank you, Brenda, from Mexico
Thanks
City.
for the note. Oh man, when you guys send in these questions, can you just do them as a voice note, please? It would be very helpful. I'm pulling one up. Talk amongst yourselves.
The voice notes are great too.
I have one ready. If you want me to go, I have a question. If that's where we're transitioning. So this is from Alex McDonald. She goes, "Hey guys, just finished the last episode. This is not a deep question, but more one out of curiosity. What's so bad about asking a person what they do for work on the first date? Yes, I get it. Work is work, but I've worked really hard to get where I am, and I'm proud of what I do. What I do for a living encapsulates a lot of my passions, gifts, talents, and life journey. If someone said, oh, let's not talk about work, it would really be a turnoff because it comes off like they're not interested in truly getting to know me and vice versa. Plus, I would 100% want to know what the other person does for a living because a desire of mine is to find someone with similar career field so we could possibly partner together. Thoughts?" So this is a little bit of attack.
Give me that in just one sentence. What is the question?
Yeah.
Talking about
it goes back to an episode. Yeah. So this goes back to a couple episodes where I made the comment where like, if someone starts like going on and on about what they do for work, I kind of cut them off and I'm just like, listen, we don't need to get deep into work. Like you're at work all day. Let's here to have fun. And she's like, what's so wrong about like talking about this? Like, I'm passionate about it. I've worked really hard. And so it was a little bit of a call out on me. And at the same, like, I get that. I don't want it to be misinterpreted where I'm just like, hey, stop talking about work. I don't care about what you do. Like someone who is ambitious and goal driven is so important for me to find as a partner. And like, actually I was dating a girl who I found wasn't very driven. And so that's what kind of ended was a main reason of why that relationship ended. So it's probably me. I just like misspoke a little bit, or just like me being very like casual and breezy in my dates.
Hashtag breezy.
Especially first dates.
I think first dates talking about work is fine. It just seems a bit surface. It's not that interesting. You're not learning about your life, your values, your core values. You're not really talking about challenges in your life. You're just really talking about what you do on a day-to-day basis, which is sort of interesting, but you kind of get it by the whatever the title is or industry that you work in. So unless you're like a freaking like forensic scientist or like something that's really interesting, I don't know about talking about work. I think it's surface in my opinion.
Well, it may also depend on their passion point. Like I get what she's saying. What was her name? Hannah?
Alex,
you were way off, Hannah.
Samson.
I'm Alex. Well, I mean, but I do get that. Do we want
to talk about Hannah?
Well, I have a comment actually from Hannah, but I get what she's saying also though, because she's like, there might be
Hannah.
Hold on, guys.
Sorry, I'm just excited.
She's supportive of the podcast.
Okay, she sounds delightful. I can't wait to hear
more. It is a great name.
Hannah.
I've had some
with an H or without an H at the end.
Such a good question. I don't have a strong preference.
I like it with the H.
But you know what's another thing?
Because
And
then
we'll get back to Alex.
it looks like henna, like a henna tattoo if there's no
Sure.
H. Sure.
I definitely
What about for Sarah?
No H.
H. Hard. Give me that H.
I
say
no H.
no S.
Yeah.
No, that's just
The
era.
C. Okay, Alex, sorry. What were you
No,
saying?
because I want to talk about names, because names are...
Because you
real
actually
thing.
didn't even tell us about your scary movies that you're watching either. You were very deflective on that.
You're right.
Can you just tell us those real quickly and then your point that you're going to make?
I watched Midsommar, which was...
Love that movie.
Bananas, but I really liked it.
Midsummer Night's Dream?
No, very different.
Oh, okay.
Midsommar with Florence Pugh.
And I also didn't know anything about it going in. And that's a wild way to watch that.
I want to watch this.
That movie.
Hey, you've never seen it? It's A24.
No.
It's fucking brilliant. It was my favorite movie of 2018.
I know what I'm doing tonight. No date September.
Don't watch a trailer. Don't watch. Just watch it.
Just go deep into Midsommar.
Yeah, and I want you to actually live text us. Actually, do it through like We Are Still Single or something like that.
Is it a rom-com?
We're not getting. We're going to stop here.
It is actually about it is a relationship story. So yes, definitely.
Maybe I'll do a TikTok live.
People do say that it is a breakup movie. Some people say that.
The other one I watched was All My Friends Hate Me, and it's really I like these kind of like quirky indie. It's great. It's like a little like psycho drama of a group of friends, and like something's off. It's great. It's good, not great. It's great. Going back to Alex's
I have a question. Sorry, Alex, you're long-winded today, man. You're just a little long-winded, and that's why I cut you off.
Let the tangents happen. Let the tangents happen.
You're a little long-winded, and that's why I cut you off. I'm sorry, but finish what you were going to say.
No, I don't want to be long-winded. I just didn't get to answer the question. I'm long-winded today. I don't want to be a long-winded guy.
No, you're perfectly winded. You're the best kind of.
You know how self-conscious, Rob, I'm going to be now. Every answer, I'm going to set a freaking timer.
Hashtag validation. No, you're great. You're great. Go ahead.
Alex, Hannah, I think if you want to talk about jobs, it totally makes sense because you might have a life vision where you're like, I want to know that this person has it together, or I want to know that this person can travel or make their own schedule, or you might just freaking love your job and you want to share about it. And so you want them to share about it too. So I get that. I think, but it does matter. I think if you meet with someone or go on a date and they don't want to talk about their work, I think feeling that and being like, all right, let's leave that at the office then. I'm done.
Great.
That was like 16 seconds.
No, that was so good. You weren't long-winded. I loved all your answers. You're very truthful.
All right, guys, we're coming up on time. I want to get in two more questions. I've got a question, then Alex has a question. This was sent in from rain_cats_chocolate. Yum.
Love that.
Okay. Even though you're all in your mid-30s, does you wanting a family cause you to have a preference for certain aged women? Society makes women feel so old once they hit their mid-30s, and I definitely don't feel old. But maybe I'm struggling with feeling like I've missed my window for having a family, and also a little bitter because men can find younger women. I'd love to hear if you've considered this, or if you've noticed that you may subconsciously look for certain ages in a partner, or is it just based on chemistry regardless of age?
Go ahead, Rob. Kick it off.
Ooh, you want me to kick it off? Little kick it off. Okay, so I have a child. We had Leia when I was 29. I'm 34 now. There is definitely a version of my life that I see in the future that has more kids. That has, a little brother or sister for Leia. It might be a blended family. I'm not sure. I have taken all rush and pressure off of me finding somebody new, settling down, creating that blended family. It will just happen when the time is right. So that said, I play by the 7-year rule. I date 7 years older and 7 years younger. So I've dated 40-year-olds, and I've dated 27-year-olds, 26-year-olds, and I don't think it's definitely something that comes up. Like I've gone on dates with women that have frozen their eggs. And they're like, I froze my eggs last week. And I'm like, that's beautiful. I think that's a wonderful thing. Because when you get to 36, 37, 38, you have to think about that if you really do want to have children. And I totally respect a woman doing that. And I also have no judgment over a woman that's like, I'm ready to fucking have kids. So like, if you're not ready, then peace. Like, I'm not wasting my time. And I guess for me, and I'm not going to speak for all men, but I will speak for the generality of men. So I guess I am speaking for all men. Like there is no shot clock for guys. We have it that lucky. we are lucky that there is no shot clock. And the truth is like, Jordan just did a Kobe sign. I think it's just a reality of biology, or it's just a reality of human nature that there's a certain point where women can no longer have kids. But then again, like, people have kids in their mid 40s and it happens. So it is not at the top of mind, but it is something. Are you telling me to wrap it up? Long-winded. Wow. Alex wrote the long-winded sign and put it up. Okay. I'm done.
I'm spicy.
You guys are so spicy today. It's great. All right. Who's next? Come on.
I've actually been talking about this a lot recently, and it's something I think I talked about on our first episode, is that from a guy's perspective, that when you are 30 to even 33 is like the peak window, is that when you talk to someone who is in their 20s, like female, or someone that you're interested in, the response is always, that's hot. And going off of you being like, for the next year, I'm going to refer to myself as being an actor. And so since turning 35, I have not received I'm 35 years old and got a, that's hot. It's more, oh, you don't look it, or it's just like, there's just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, there's no that moniker. And I need to hear.
Are you saying
things.
We're getting old? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying I need that validation when I do anything, that people like acknowledge that I'm attracted. Like, that just, fills my cup so much. So maybe
Gotcha.
Words of affirmation needs to be a bigger part of my love language. I was talking about that in therapy too recently. So I guess, like, if we're talking about age, like, yes, obviously being, having a family of my own is something that's really important, but to put pressure or timing is not, I don't know. I don't think that benefits anything, whether or not it's putting pressure on finding a partner, then let alone being like putting pressure on like starting a family. That is my answer to that. So I'm not long-winded, but yeah, the age thing is definitely interesting.
All of our wind is great wind, guys. I love your wind.
I love your wind.
Yeah. I'll do a quick answer and then bring up the last questions. I'm open for age. I don't care about age. I mean, I guess if I were to paint like a fantastical age of like who my partner would be, yes, I have something in mind. But if I met someone who was in her 40s, amazing. If I met someone who was in her 20s, amazing. Because there's so many different maturity levels. I don't know. I've met very mature
30s. You can have 30s too.
Totally. Everything in between. I've met very mature 26-year-olds. I've met very not mature 40-year-olds. So I'm open.
So true.
Open. This is from Louisa.
Let's go.
Said very kind things. Louisa, thank you for the very kind notes about the podcast. And she asked a couple things she brought up. I'll bring up two of them. One was, she said, where did y'all start doing the snaps? Why'd you start doing the snaps?
Oh, I mean, the snaps, that I used to do that at NYU. It was like, we'd be in like a meeting for my fraternity, A Pi, and there would always be like snaps. All right, snap, snap, snaps. It's just like, it's a light clap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What? Because you guys knew about the snaps.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I don't have the similar. Yeah.
It's just like guys around each other snapping.
And then she said, she's like, it doesn't make sense. She's like, I can't understand how the podcast has had negatively impacted your dating lives. She said, I'm sure it's had like positive effects. I think it's just an interesting thing to bring up to someone. Like, you go on a date with someone, and is it a first date thing? Is it a second date thing? By the by, every week I talk about my dating life with my two besties for anyone.
Well, I mean, I'm in the season now of attracting rather than like going and getting or swiping for it. And I think the last, I'd say like 3 people I've dated, they've like understood my story. So they've been they've heard the podcast, they've seen me on TikTok or whatever. So it's like, it's different than in a dating app where it's like, it's another thing I need to explain. I'm a widower. I'm a single dad. I'm sober. Mm-hmm. And I have a podcast about being single. So this is probably not going to go that far. I'm just kidding. But like that, like, it's in this season of attracting, I find that falling into my more authentic self. Yeah. I am who I am. And like, if you don't like it, get out.
Yeah, it's accepting the full package, but the one example that I can give is just that we are being very vulnerable, or being as open as we possibly feel comfortable to, and to break that fourth wall a little bit, or to go on a date with someone who, leading up to the first date, they're able to listen to now 10 episodes of me talking about how I'm approaching dating and the things
episodes.
We're currently doing a lot. Yes. So this is the 11th episode. So to have that much more information about a specific subject versus like on Instagram, you post your highlight reel, or on TikTok, I'm making like jokes and, trying to be funny or creative and doing all that, versus we are here talking about like, the season of life. I'm shooting my shot right now. Like I'm sending DMs and accepting DMs. Like to certain people, like they're quickly sliding in my DMs, and to other people, they're like, gross. So, and you just kind of have to accept it is what it is. And I'm just trying to be my most authentic self. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Well, this episode, let's break it down. It started off a little spicy. Then there was like a bug killer in the back of Jordan's, wood cabin in Joshua Tree. By the way, I'm 99% sure I'm coming up to Joshua Tree next weekend.
We love to see it.
Or this week. Is it this weekend?
It's this weekend.
Oh boy. But yeah, guys, I will say, this is episode 11. We see you guys, like we see you listening to our podcast, and it makes us, validated. Like we really do feel validated by the comments, by the ratings that you're putting on Apple Podcasts, the reviews you've left, the DMs that we're getting, the engagement that we're getting on some of the Instagram stories that we're posting. This month, we're also rolling out more long form video content. We're going to launch a YouTube channel, and really like this Still Single podcast community is growing, and we see all of you. We feel your pain. We feel your struggle about being single, and we love you.
And hope.
And hope. And there's so much hope.
And there's enjoyment also about being single.
Yes.
Totally. I love No Date September. It's the best.
Well put, though. Well put.
Although I did go to the mall right before I came to Joshua Tree to get some new clothes. I need a new wardrobe so bad.
Me too. Where'd you go shop?
We'll talk. Yeah. Just a mall in Denver.
I want to know where you guys shop.
I hit H&M, hit PacSun, just like walked into like
Zara. H&M?
Zara, Express, if anything. I only got stuff from H&M and PacSun this time, but I was definitely bummed walking around being like, I would love to have some girl just being like, grab this. Yeah. This is cute. You look like,
get some Auntie Anne's pretzels together.
Oh man,
that'd be fun.
Cinnamon
shopping
and
with
sugar.
a girlfriend is really fun. It's one of the
and
best.
Then like, have you ever had this happened once? She grabbed something that was like so expensive.
Yeah,
but I was like, I love it. Maybe it's just like a different color. She's like, no, this is perfect. This is your size. She's like, it's just like maybe it's like I don't know.
I miss that.
Can I do like I want to do like is this not appropriate to have like a boyfriend or girlfriend for hire? Is that a thing?
I think that's called an escort, man.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about by saying that.
Yeah.
But
it's an escort.
I'm hiring like a stylist at that point, huh?
Yeah, let's go with stylist. I think stylist is better than an escort.
You know
what? For this situation.
I have a beef with this store. We got to wrap this up. Okay, whatever. Now I brought it up. I have a beef with the store Bonobos. Do you know this? You walk in. It's like that. We sell it on eBay from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like you walk in and they have all these shirts. And I'm like, hey, can I get this in a medium? And they go, oh, actually, this is our showroom. We don't have any clothes here. You get sized and then we mail away and they ship it to you. I'm like, hold on. Can I just give you money and you just give me the shirt that way? Dude, it's literally like that.
Well, I'm sorry to see you leave Colorado.
So
thanks for letting me find out through the podcast.
This is. I think the last two episodes, you guys have like. There's like a little like.
No, don't.
There was.
Script
I'm not gonna deny. There was definitely spice from me at the beginning of last episode, without a doubt.
Yeah, and then this episode, I think Alex kind of returned the spice, and now you guys are good.
We're good.
Yeah, you guys are good.
I love you guys.
I love you too.
I love you guys.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for our episode today. Again, please leave that 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Write a review and slide into our DMs. I'm at Single Girl Dad. Jordan is at Jordan Kahana, and Alex is at I'm Alex Weber. And then you can follow us. We post some ridiculous meme content and tweets that we've been seeing at We Are Still Single. You can find us on Instagram, and then follow us on TikTok at Still Single Pod. We love social media and validation, so hit us with that validation. We love you guys.
Love you all.
Bye.